Welcome back. We are continuing our journey through the architecture of the mind, looking at the work of Charles F. Hannell.
And his text, The Master Key System.
Exactly. Today we're hitting episode 4, and I have to say, looking at the notes, this one feels, well, it feels a little like we're pulling back the curtain on a magic trick.
He said the magic trick is our own life, right?
Yeah, our daily lives, why we do what we do, and maybe more importantly, why it is so incredibly hard to change, even when we really, really want to.
It's the universal human struggle, isn't it?
It really is.
You know, you make a plan, you set a goal, you feel that huge surge of motivation on a Sunday night, and then
it's gone.
it just defaults back to the old way by Tuesday afternoon.
Tuesday. You're being generous. For me, it's usually Monday lunch. But I mean, seriously, you swear you're going to stay calm with your kids this week, or you're finally going to tackle that big project first thing in the morning, or you're going to stop snacking at midnight. And you mean it. You genuinely mean it at that moment.
You do. The intention is real.
But then stress hits, or you get tired, or just distracted. And snap. You're right back where you started. It feels like a character flaw. It feels like, I'm just broken.
And I think that's where most people land. They immediately assume it's a moral failing or, a lack of grit or willpower.
Right.
But what we're going to explore today through Hannell and through modern neuroscience is that it's not a character flaw at all. It's a software issue.
A software issue. I like that.
Yes. You're trying to run a new program, let's say being a morning person, on an operating system that hasn't been updated since, high school.
That feels accurate.
So this is where we get into the actual machinery of the mind, the subconscious and the power of suggestion.
If this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
We have a lot to cover because we're essentially blending a classic philosophical text from, 1912?
Over a century ago.
With modern cognitive behavioral therapy and some really hard, rigorous science on how habits are biologically formed in the brain.
I love that mix. It takes it out of the realm of, woo, and into something practical.
Exactly.
So I want to start with the basics. We hear the word subconscious all the time. It's in every self-help book, every movie about hypnosis. It usually sounds a bit mystical,
It does. Very mysterious.
Yeah.
Like there's this hidden basement in your mind full of secrets and repressed memories.
Right. But in the context of Hannell and just practical psychology,
Right.
what actually is it?
Okay, so if we strip away all the mysticism, all the Hollywood tropes, the subconscious is simply the automatic mind.
The automatic mind.
Or, to be even more precise, you could call it the habit mind.
The habit mind.
Okay, think about it from an evolutionary perspective for a second. The brain it's an expensive organ to run.
How so?
Well, it weighs about 3 pounds, but it consumes something like 20% of your body's total energy. It's a fuel hog.
So it's always looking for ways to save gas.
Precisely. It's an efficiency machine. So the conscious mind, the part of you that's listening to me right now, the part that decides what to order for dinner or solves a math problem, that lives largely in your prefrontal cortex.
The new part of the brain.
The newest part, evolutionarily speaking, it's the CEO. But the CEO is expensive. It burns through glucose like crazy. If you had to consciously think about every single muscle movement required just to walk across the room,
You'd be exhausted.
you would be exhausted before you even reach the door. So the brain, to save energy, offloads anything that's repetitive.
It delegates it.
It delegates it to the subconscious. In neuroscience, we often link this function to a part of the brain called the basal ganglia.
The basal ganglia.
It's an older, more primitive structure deep inside the brain, and its whole job is efficiency. It takes a complex sequence of actions, like tying your shoes, and it chunks them together into a single automatic unit, a habit.
Can you give us a really concrete example of that handoff in action?
Driving is the absolute classic one. Think back to when you first learned to drive a car. Do you remember what that felt like?
Oh, it was terrifying. I remember my hands gripping the wheel, knuckles were white. I was hyper aware of everything. The pressure on the gas pedal, the position of the mirrors, the turn signal, every other car on the road. I couldn't even have the radio on because it was just too much input.
Exactly. Your conscious mind, where Hannell would call the watchman or the architect, it was fully engaged. It was making hundreds of micro decisions every minute.
Right.
But fast forward 5 years, you're driving home from work, you're thinking about what to make for dinner, maybe you're replaying a conversation from a meeting, and suddenly you're just in your driveway.
And I have no memory of the actual drive at all.
You don't.
Yeah.
But you stopped at red lights, you used your turn signals, you adjusted your speed for traffic, you navigated all the turns. You did all of that without a single conscious thought.
Yeah.
So, who was driving the car?
The subconscious, the basal
Now,
ganglia.
the automatic mind. Handel calls this the seat of habit. And get this, and this is a statistic that comes up in both the old text and modern research. Something like 90% of our mental life is subconscious.
90%.
Okay.
That seems incredibly high. I feel like I'm making choices all day long.
You feel like you are, but are you really?
Or are you just reacting to cues based on old programming? Think about your morning routine.
Okay.
The alarm goes off, you hit snooze. That's a script. You walk to the kitchen, you grab the same mug you always grab, you pour the coffee, you check your phone, you see a notification that makes you feel annoyed, you react with annoyance. How much of that was a deliberate, weighed, conscious decision? And how much was just a series of dominoes falling?
When you put it like that, it's a little bit terrifying. It sort of implies we're barely awake for most of our lives.
Well, it's only terrifying if the scripts are bad.
If the scripts are good, it's a superpower. It means you can do incredibly complex things effortlessly. Think about elite athletes, concert musicians, surgeons. They rely on the subconscious. They practice and practice until the conscious mind can just step back and let the automatic mind execute with incredible speed and precision.
Okay, so it's not good or bad, it's just a tool.
It's just a tool.
Yeah.
But Handel's main point, and the critical mission of this whole discussion, is that if you don't consciously and deliberately install new patterns, you're destined to run on the old ones forever.
You're stuck in default mode.
You're running in default mode, and default mode is usually just whatever you picked up by accident along the way.
Right, from childhood or past experiences.
Correct. And that brings us perfectly to the mechanism of how we actually install those programs. This is the second core concept for today. Suggestion.
Okay, let's unpack suggestion because, in a normal conversation, a suggestion is polite. It's like, hey, maybe you should try the pasta. It's a recommendation I can take or leave. But I get the sense that in this context, it means something much more forceful.
It is. In the context of the subconscious mind, suggestion means input. It means programming code.
It's a command?
It's the command. You have to understand the fundamental difference in nature between the conscious and the subconscious minds. The conscious mind is inductive. It observes facts, it uses reason, it draws conclusions. It's the watchman at the gate.
Right. It can say that's true or that's false. It can look at the pasta and say, no thanks, I'm gluten-free, I won't eat that.
It has a filter.
It has a filter.
The subconscious, however, has no filter. It's purely deductive. It accepts whatever premise it's given, regardless of whether that premise is true or false, and then it works out the conclusion with a kind of relentless logic.
So it can't tell the difference between reality and something else.
It can't. It's like the soil in a garden. The soil doesn't care if you plant a tomato seed or a poison ivy seed. It doesn't judge. It doesn't say, oh, wait, poison ivy is probably bad for you. It will just grow whatever you plant with equal energy and dedication.
So suggestion is the act of planting the seed.
Yes. And the terrifying part, going back to that word, is that we are constantly being bombarded with suggestions, and we are constantly accepting them without realizing it, because our watchman, our conscious mind, is often asleep at the post or just distracted.
It's looking at its phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So suggestion is the process where an input repeated over time becomes a default setting, a belief.
So where are these inputs, these suggestions coming from? I mean, if I'm being programmed, who's doing the programming?
Well, it comes from everywhere, but we can kind of categorize them into three main sources. First, this is a huge one today, is the environment and media.
The news feed effect.
You know this one. You scroll through headlines for 10, maybe 20 minutes, and suddenly the whole world feels like a dangerous, burning, awful place.
Yeah. My anxiety level just skyrockets.
Right. And your conscious mind might logically know, okay, these are algorithms. They prioritize conflict and fear because it drives engagement. I know the world is huge and contains good things too.
Sure, logically I know that.
But your subconscious, it doesn't understand algorithms. It doesn't understand editorial bias. It just sees the repetition. Danger, crisis, urgency, fear. And it takes that input as the baseline reality.
So it's building a world model based on that skewed data.
It is.
Yeah.
So you walk around all day with this background hum of anxiety,
Yeah.
not because you are in any immediate danger, but because you have programmed your automatic mind to constantly expect a threat. You've adapted to the environment you fed it.
Wow. Okay, so that's source number one. What's the second?
The second source is other people.
Is this just like peer pressure?
It's much deeper than peer pressure. It's something called implicit learning, We have these things in our brains called mirror neurons.
Right, I've heard of those.
They're designed to help us fit in with the tribe, to bond. And what they do is they cause us to unconsciously mimic the emotional rhythms, the posture, the beliefs, and the expectations of the people we spend the most time with.
So we're soaking it all in.
It's like a sponge. If you work in an office where everyone is cynical, where the default conversation is complaining about management or expecting the new project to fail, your subconscious just picks up that pattern.
You start expecting failure just because that's the vibe of the tribe?
You absorb the belief system. Work is a drag. Bosses are always unfair. We never win big clients. You might not even verbally agree with it. But if you are swimming in that water 8 hours a day, the suggestion takes root. You start to see the world through that filter.
And the third source, I have a feeling this is the big one.
It's the biggest one. And it's the most dangerous one because, the call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
It's your own self-talk,
The voice in the head.
the critical loop. In cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, we call these automatic thoughts. They're the little narrative bursts, the commentary that happens all day long in your mind.
Can you give me some examples of what this sounds like in practice?
Sure. You drop a glass of water. The immediate thought is, I'm so clumsy. You wake up and it's raining outside. Immediate thought, oh, today's going to be terrible.
Okay, that's
You have
true.
a big presentation coming up. The automatic thought is, I'm going to mess this up. I always mess this up.
Or how about, I'm so tired. I say that one a lot. I wake up and I say, I'm just so exhausted.
And here is the absolute danger. The subconscious does not know you are just venting. It has no sense of humor. It doesn't understand sarcasm or hyperbole.
It takes it literally.
It takes it as a command. When you say with feeling, I am so tired or I am so anxious, your subconscious takes that as a direct order from the captain of the ship. It says, okay, the captain says we are tired, roger that. Shutting down the energy systems, increasing cortisol production, making the body feel heavy.
Wow. So we are literally commanding our own body to feel worse.
We are hypnotizing ourselves into a state of fatigue. We think we're just reporting on our reality. We think, I am stating that I am tired because I am in fact tired. But what's really happening is we are creating and reinforcing that reality with every repetition. We're cementing it.
This connects right back to what we talked about in the intro. The frustration of trying to change.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually when I notice I'm doing something I don't like, say, doom scrolling on my phone or eating junk food, my first instinct is to try and change it using willpower.
Of course, the brute force method.
Right. I say, I am going to force myself to not be tired, or I'm going to force myself to put the phone down.
And that is the trap. That is precisely why willpower, on its own, almost always fails in the long run.
And I think everyone listening can relate to this. You start the day so strong, you have the green smoothie, you do the workout, you're patient with your colleagues, and then 4 o'clock hits.
4 o'clock is the witching hour.
It is. Or 8 o'clock at night. And it all just falls apart. Why does willpower run out? What's happening there?
It's happening because willpower is a biological function of the conscious mind. It lives in that prefrontal cortex we talked about.
Yeah.
And physiologically, it is incredibly expensive.
Burns a lot of fuel.
A tremendous amount of neural energy. It burns glucose. Think of it like a battery on your phone.
Okay, a battery.
It's a small battery.
Yeah.
Every time you resist an urge, every time you make a hard decision, every time you force yourself to focus on a boring spreadsheet instead of checking social media, you drain that battery.
That's called decision fatigue.
Decision fatigue or willpower fatigue. They're closely related. And so when that battery dies,
Which it always does.
or when you get hungry or stressed or tired or sick, the conscious guard goes down, the watchman at the gate falls asleep.
And when the watchman sleeps,
Who drives the car?
the autopilot, the
The
subconscious.
subconscious. And it drives the car down the road it knows best. The most well-paved, most familiar, widest road it has. The path of least resistance.
The old habit.
The old habit. This is why you don't relapse on your diet at 9 in the morning when you're fresh and motivated. You relapse at 9 at night when you're exhausted.
Right.
The conscious mind is offline. The brain defaults to the most deeply ingrained path to save energy. If your habit is to stress eat, you will stress eat. If your habit is to doom scroll, you will doom scroll.
This is really comforting. It means that me eating the pizza at night isn't because I'm a fundamentally weak person.
No.
It's because my brain switched into energy-saving mode and
Yes.
executed the software that was already installed.
Correct. It is a biological inevitability if you are relying solely on willpower. And this is where we can bring in the Stoics.
Okay.
There's a sentiment in Stoic philosophy that applies perfectly here. Hope is not a strategy.
Hope is not a strategy. I like that.
You cannot just hope that tomorrow you'll magically have more willpower. You won't. You cannot just hope that you won't get tired or stressed. You will. Stress will happen.
So if hope isn't the strategy and willpower isn't the strategy, but what is?
The strategy is to change the default setting. You have to reprogram the autopilot. You have to dig up the old road and pave a new one so that when the conscious mind inevitably gets tired, the subconscious automatically executes the behavior you want.
You make the good behavior the easy, automatic one.
You have to make it the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
We need to update the software. We need to install a new suggestion.
Okay, let's get practical. This is the method segment. How do we actually do this? Because I'll be honest, I've tried affirmations before. Standing in the mirror, saying, I am a millionaire while I'm looking at an overdue bill, it just feels like I'm lying to myself.
Right.
And my brain knows I'm lying. It just argues back, no, you're not.
That's a very, very common problem. If the gap between the suggestion and your current reality is too big, or if there's too much internal conflict and emotional charge, the conscious mind just rejects it. It triggers an argument. I am wealthy. No, you're not. Look at this bill.
So how do we bypass that argument? How do we get the seed into the soil without the watchman stomping on it?
We need a specific protocol. And we've synthesized this from Hamill's writings and a lot of modern habit formation science. It's a specific sequence.
Okay, walk us through it. What's step one?
Step one, choose one clean suggestion.
Just one. Why only one?
Just one. This is one of the biggest places people fail. They try to overhaul their entire life on a Monday morning. This week, I will be fit, rich, kind, organized, and learn French.
I have done that.
We all have. It's just too much noise. The signal gets lost. You have to pick one specific pattern to rewrite. And the phrasing of that one suggestion is absolutely critical. It must be positive, and it must be in the present tense.
Okay, let's break that down. Why positive? Why can't I just say, I will not be late anymore? That seems pretty clear to me.
It seems clear, but it has the opposite effect because of the pink elephant paradox.
Wait, what?
If I tell you right now, right this second, do not think of a pink elephant, what happens in your mind?
I immediately see a pink elephant.
Of course. The subconscious is primarily image-based. It doesn't really process the word not very well. It just processes the main subject. So if you say, I will not be late, the image you are holding in your mind, the one you are rehearsing and energizing, is the image of being late.
So I'm practicing the very thing I'm trying to stop.
You're feeding the very thing you're trying to starve. Instead of I won't be late, you need to say something like,
I am always punctual.
I'm always punctual, or I arrive with time to spare. Now that creates a positive image in your mind. An image of you checking your watch, feeling calm, walking through the door early. That's the image you want to plant in the garden.
Got it. Okay, so one positive present tense suggestion. What's step two?
Step two, repeat it calmly.
Why is calmly the key word there? I would think I should say it with passion, with intensity, like I really, really want it.
Well, emotional intensity is good if the emotion is positive like joy or gratitude or love.
Yeah.
But often, when we're trying to change something we don't like about ourselves, the intensity we feel is actually desperation.
Right. It's urgency. I must fix this. I have to stop doing this.
And that urgency, that feeling of I'm broken and I have to fix it, it creates resistance. Urgency signals to the subconscious that something is wrong, that there's a threat. It triggers the amygdala, the fear center of the brain. It triggers the fight or flight response.
And you can't learn when you're in fight or flight.
You cannot reprogram the deep mind when you're in a panic state. The brain becomes rigid and defensive, is trying to protect the status quo. You need to be in a state of relaxed receptivity. Hanel is very specific about this. Calm repetition tells the brain, this is normal. This is not a big deal. This is just the truth. This is how things are now.
So it's more like a gentle, persistent whisper than a loud shout.
Exactly. Like water wearing down a stone rather than a hammer trying to smash it. You're just gently flipping the suggestion in past the guard.
Okay.
Step three.
Step three. Pair it with one aligned behavior. You must prove it to yourself.
So we can't just think our way into a new life. That's a bit disappointing. Thoughts are the seeds, but action is the water. You can sit and suggest to yourself, I'm a tidy person, 1,000 times a day. But if you look around and see socks on the floor and dishes in the sink, your brain creates cognitive dissonance.
It calls you a liar.
It signals to yourself that you are a liar. So you need one small action, doesn't have to be huge, that aligns with the new code. Put one sock in the hamper.
That's it. Just one sock.
Just one. That small win releases a little bit of dopamine, and it cements the belief. It's a vote for your new identity. Your brain says, see, I guess I am a tidy person. I just did a tidy thing.
It validates the new software. It proves that the new code is actually running.
It creates a powerful feedback loop. Belief drives action, and then the action reinforces the belief. This is what helps myelinate the new neural pathway. Every time you act on the thought, you're wrapping that wire in insulation, making the signal faster and stronger over time.
I like that. Okay, and what's step 4?
Step 4 is crucial, and it's the one that is almost always skipped. Remove one contradiction.
What does that mean, a contradiction?
It means you have to start doing the one thing that directly cancels out your new suggestion. You can't plant a beautiful flower garden and then pour a little bit of gasoline on it every night and expect it to grow.
Right.
If you're trying to program, I am calm and focused. But the very first thing you do every single morning is grab your phone and check frantic work emails while you're still in bed. You are contradicting your own programming within minutes of waking up.
You're feeding the old habit before the new one even has a chance.
You're feeding the old habit while trying to build the new one. It's like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. You have to clear the weeds. You have to alter the environment to support the new code.
So if you want to be healthy, you can't have the cookies sitting out on the counter.
Exactly. The visual cue of the cookies will trigger the old habit loop before your new suggestion, I am healthy, has a chance to even come online.
Okay, so the sequence is, choose one clean suggestion, repeat it calmly, pair it with a small aligned action, and remove the biggest contradiction.
That is the formula.
Let's apply this. I really want to run through some real-world scenarios because abstract rules are great, but I need to see this in the wild.
Good idea.
Let's start with work. And let's talk about the urgency loop.
Oh, the urgency loop. Yes, this is very common in modern corporate life.
It's that feeling that you are constantly always behind. You wake up with a sense of panic, you rush to the computer, you feel like you're drowning in emails before you've even had your coffee.
Right. And the subconscious script that's running there is probably something like, there isn't enough time, I am failing, I have to hurry, hurry, hurry.
Yes, exactly.
And so the body responds to that script by dumping adrenaline and cortisol into your system. Your focus actually narrows. You become cognitively dumber because your prefrontal cortex is being squeezed offline by the stress response. You can't think clearly.
So how do we fix this with the 4-step method?
Okay, first we need a new suggestion. We have to counter that hurry script. So instead of, I am so behind, we install something like, I move with calm, steady execution.
I move with calm, steady execution. I like that. It slows my pulse down just saying it.
It changes the entire mental image, doesn't it? It goes from a frantic chicken to a professional, calm operator.
Yeah.
Now, step 3, the aligned action. You need to prove it to yourself. So you tackle the hardest, most important task first thing in the morning, before anything else.
You eat the frog?
You eat the frog, no multitasking, no checking email. You just do that one important thing steadily for 20 or 30 minutes. And when you finish it, or even just make solid progress, your brain gets that hit of dopamine and goes, wow, we really are calm and steady. Look what we just did.
It proves the new identity and the contradiction to remove.
Checking email immediately upon waking up, that is the gasoline on the garden. It floods your brain with other people's priorities before you've had a chance to set your own. It triggers the reactive mind, so you have to remove that trigger. Put the phone in another room overnight.
Okay, that's powerful. Let's try scenario B, your relationships. This is a big one for a lot of people. The rejection loop.
Ah, the mind-reading trap.
Yes. Your partner is quiet, or your boss sends a really short one-word email, and the immediate automatic thought is, they're mad at me, they hate me, what did I do wrong?
And then you spiral. You get defensive or you get clingy, and you often end up creating the very conflict you were afraid of.
You manifest the rejection because you acted as if it were already there.
Precisely.
So what's the fix?
The suggestion here needs to directly counter the assumption of malice or rejection. A good one is something like, I assume clarity and respect in all my interactions.
I assume clarity and respect. That's good.
Connell talks about this, about mentally dissolving the difference before you even meet a difficult person. You visualize the interaction going well. You assume they are on your team. You assume their silence is just silence, not a hidden message of anger.
And the action, what's the aligned behavior?
The action is to ask a clarifying question instead of spiraling into a story. If the email from your boss is short, instead of agonizing for an hour, you just reply, thanks, just want to make sure we're aligned on this. Do you need anything else from me?
You seek data instead of hallucinating a disaster.
Yes, and the contradiction to remove. venting. Do not immediately call your friend and spend 45 minutes gossiping and speculating about how weird your boss is acting today.
Uh,
All that does is reinforce the anxiety story. It rehearses the problem.
that is a hard one. We love to vent, but I see what you mean. It just solidifies the negative suggestion. You're practicing the problem.
We want to practice the solution.
Okay, final one. Scenario C, habits. The classic stress response. Eating junk food or doom scrolling on your phone when you feel overwhelmed.
This is a direct soothe response. The brain feels stress. It wants a quick hit of dopamine to numb it out. It's actually a very logical mechanism.
So the suggestion can't be, I will not eat the donut.
No, because that just creates a big pink elephant donut in your mind. The suggestion needs to be about what you want to do instead. Something like, I nourish my body and my mind. Or even simpler, I treat myself with care.
I nourish my body and mind. I like that.
The action. When the urge to stress eat hits, you insert a pause. You drink a full glass of water first. Or you stand up and take 3 deep breaths. You insert a small, positive, nourishing act.
And you might still eat the donut after that.
Initially, you might. But you are beginning to insert a pause in the habit loop. You're wiring in a new association. Stress means water. Stress means breathing. Over time, that new path gets stronger.
And the contradiction to remove.
It's the trigger. Don't keep the junk food on your desk. Don't sleep with the phone on the nightstand. If the visual cue is right there, your subconscious will grab for it before your new suggestion has a chance to work. You have to increase the friction for the bad habit.
It's all about friction. Make the bad habit harder to do and the new suggested habit easier.
Precisely. You are designing an environment where your new software can actually run without crashing.
I think it's time we actually try this. We've been talking about it, but I really want to give our listeners a chance to install a suggestion right now.
Let's do it. A guided exercise. We can call it the suggestion install practice.
Okay, so wherever you are listening, and obviously if you are driving or operating heavy machinery, please keep your eyes open. But if you can, just pause what you're doing. Maybe sit back in your chair.
We're just going to walk through the sequence together. It only takes a moment.
Okay, right.
First, just relax the body and slow the mind. Take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. The subconscious listens best when the body is free of tension.
Okay.
Now, identify one automatic pattern that you'd like to replace. Just one. Don't pick the biggest one in your life. Just a small, recurring one. Is it anxiety about a certain task? Is it procrastination? Is it self-criticism? Don't judge it. Just spot it.
Got one.
Good. Now, choose one short suggestion phrase that matches the person you are becoming. Remember the rules. Positive, and in the present tense. Something simple like, I am calm, I am focused, I am confident, I am steady.
I am steady.
That's a great one. Now repeat it gently in your mind. Don't force it, don't shout it. Just say it quietly to yourself, like you're stating a simple fact about the weather. I am steady.
Mm-hmm.
And as you repeat it, visualize yourself acting that way. See a clean mental picture of the steady you handling a situation with ease. What does that look like? What does that feel like? Hold that image.
I can see it.
Now, choose one small action that proves it today. What is one tiny thing that steady you will do in the next hour? It has to be something you can actually do.
I'll put my phone away and finish one single email without distraction.
Perfect. And finally, identify one contradiction that you can remove. What are you going to stop doing that fights against this feeling of being steady?
I will stop keeping my email tab open in my browser all day long.
Excellent. Now just close with a calm commitment statement in your mind. Something like, this is who I am now, and then just let it go.
That feels different. It feels less like a wish and more like a plan.
That's the difference between a daydream and a suggestion. A daydream is an escape. A suggestion is a blueprint for action.
Before we wrap up, we need to troubleshoot. Because I know people are going to try this, and they are going to hit bumps in the road.
Inevitably.
So what are the most common mistakes people make?
We usually see 5 big ones that come up again and again.
Okay, wait, what's number 1?
Inconsistency. This is the classic Jim in January syndrome. People do their suggestion practice for 2 or 3 days, they don't see a miracle, and they quit.
Right. It's not working.
You have to understand the law of practice. Neural pathways are like muscles. They take time and consistent reps to build. You have to do this every single day, especially the beginning, until it becomes boring. When it's boring, that means it's working. It's becoming automatic.
Okay, so consistency is key. What's mistake number 2?
Negative phrasing. We talked about this, but it's so common it's worth repeating. Focusing on what you don't want. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be broke. Your subconscious just hears fat and broke. You must pivot to the desired positive outcome. I am strong and healthy. I am prosperous and resourceful.
Focus on the goal, not the obstacle. What's
The
mistake number 3?
vague goals. Using a suggestion like, I want to be successful. Well, what does that even mean? It's too abstract. The subconscious is like a taxi driver. If you get in the car and just say, drive me to success, the driver has no idea where to go.
You need to give it an address.
You have to give it a specific address. I will complete my novel by December. I will run a 5K without stopping. Be specific so it has a clear picture to work with.
Makes sense. Mistake number 4.
Impatience. Trying to force the seed to grow instantly. You can't plant a seed in the ground and then dig it up every 10 minutes to see if it's growing. You can't scream at a plant to grow faster. It just creates stress. You have to trust the process. Plant the seed, water it with action, and let the natural laws do the work.
That's a good one. Trust the process. And the last one, number 5.
Letting contradictions live. This is the subtle killer. You're doing the mental work, you're saying your suggestion, but your physical environment is constantly fighting you.
The foot on the brake again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You want to be healthy, but your pantry is still full of cookies and chips. You want to be productive, but your phone notifications are on full blast. You have to align your physical world with your mental world. You have to clean house.
Both houses. The one in your mind and the one you actually live in.
That's it, exactly.
This has been incredibly dense in a really good way. Let's do a quick recap. What are the main takeaways for everyone listening today?
Okay, if we boil it all down, here's what you really need to remember.
Go for it.
First, life is run by automatic patterns.
Right.
The subconscious is the habit mind.
The autopilot.
Next, inputs become your default beliefs over time.
So watch what you consume.
Then, willpower fails when you get tired. It's a battery.
It's not a character flaw.
Calm repetition is what installs new software.
Gently does it.
Your action must align with your suggestion. You have to prove it to yourself.
Action is the water for the seed.
And finally, you have to remove the contradictions.
Clean house.
That's the toolkit.
That really is the toolkit. So we've talked about the software, the suggestion, but next time we need to talk about the engine, the power that drives it all.
That's right. Next time we're moving into episode 5, the will and concentration. Once you have the plan, you need the mental focus to hold it in place until it actually manifests.
How to develop a laser-like mind that doesn't get distracted.
Exactly.
I definitely need that. I think we all do.
We all do.
Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.